Hey everybody, it's Blake,
And this is Drew.
And this is Brian.
and you're listening to Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Controllers podcast, a Lock, Stock, and Three Smoking Controllers production co-op endeavor.
That was a mouthful.
I'm going to cut that down myself in post. Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 135. You can find us on all social media platforms just by searching the podcast name, which is Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Controllers, not Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Controllers presents a Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Controllers production, Three Smoking Controllers
Co-op
Endeavors number 7.
I think Blake made it more complicated than
I did.
it actually
I
even is.
panicked.
I liked it though. But anywhere you find us on social media, you can keep track of the comings and goings of the podcast. The most important thing we always say, and they always say, is to come watch us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Two Smoking Controllers.
It's forward slash. Come on now.
Forward slash? Yeah. What? Let me take a little time out here. I don't really know the difference between a backslash and a forward slash because
This needs to be said. Let's get into this.
Confused which direction. So is it leaning forward as a forward and leaning back as a back?
But what is the use difference?
Yeah, I don't know.
Does anybody know somebody write into these social media so let's know the difference between a forward slash and a backslash, and why would we use either one?
I guarantee it probably has like the directions of which you take to root or your directives.
Yeah, it's got to be a coding. It's got to be a coding issue.
Yeah. If you're
For
backslash,
sure.
I'm trying to think of the last time I would have used a backslash in anything. Though.
because you're not trying to like code something to go backwards through your
I guess-
directives.
I think you're
Yeah, I
just
use them
saying
when I'm
things that you
going
might
to-
not know.
I use them when I'm going to network locations. I think backslash.
Because you use
yeah.
like smart things.
Yeah, and we use stuff at work. Anyway, if you want more
was
riveting
worth it.
conversation
That was
like
worth
this, yeah, totally worth it. If you want more riveting conversation like this, come check us out on Twitch, where we like to play other games for 5 minutes and then Dark Souls games for 5 years. So just we're not a Dark Souls podcast, but we do seem to play a lot of the games.
We're not a Dark Souls podcast. We are surely a Dark Souls Twitch streamer.
Yes. Right now, I think we can be classified there. Oh, look, it's right there in the show notes. Twitch.tv/Two Smoking Controllers.
Yeah.
How about that? Lastly, we do have a store and a Patreon page. On the store,
right.
we're still.
Sorry,
What?
he's googling the /backslash thing while you're trying to get through this mess so we can get to the games.
Was he right?
Yeah, I'm right. It literally, essentially, the key difference between the directions of the / and the backslash is computing most systems favoring the / because it shows forward progression through the programs, while / makes you go backwards through the directives.
Nice.
So I was completely guessing, but I was right.
This
I
is
love
good,
nostalgia,
This is
so-
good content. So.
That's why I like the backslash. I like nostalgia. Oh, anyway, yeah. So the store, we got one of those, and you should go on there. And we're still looking for somebody to model the underwear. And then there's a Patreon page where you can basically join, get some unedited stuff before I get my grubby little hands on it and mess it all up. And then you can also name an episode if somebody ever decides that they would like to put a super long and convoluted name on one of these. It'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
And links to all of that can be found in the show notes.
All right, Blake, your turn. Because you have, I don't know. Do you ever take any notes for our co-op episodes, Brian, or you just kind of go with the flow?
Take my mental notes.
Mental notes. Oh, those are ruined.
Yeah, they're trash from the
They're
get-go.
getting caught in the cobwebs up there.
Yeah.
Because it's always so. I think I said on every co-op endeavors episode, we were worried about when we first started this idea was like, man, are we going to play enough games to have these episodes happen every now and then? And here we are. I won't say the name of the game yet. I'll let Blake say it. But the game we're talking about.
Yeah, how many games ago was that? It feels like forever that
I'll
we
tell you,
played
if my notes app didn't have ads suddenly.
That's fun.
I'm trying to get to my notes. I don't want to buy anything. Somebody else say something while I'm trying to get there. Co-op endeavors. So the division. I'm saying it. I'm saying the name of the game. Let's go say Division 2. Sorry, so that's the episode. The Division 2 is what we're talking about. Currently, we're playing Dark Souls. In between Division 2 and Dark Souls is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games We've got plenty of games.
That's impressive.
How many of those did we beat?
You shut your mouth when you talk to me.
1, 2, 3, 3.
Are you counting 3 as one?
No.
That you got
I don't know. So
three
we beat a zombie game. We beat a Souls-like. Go figure. And we beat a Souls game.
That's
So that's
respectable.
3.
That's
then
nearly
there's
50%.
So the list of games between Dark Souls 2, we beat that game, and now we're playing Dark Souls 1. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games we didn't beat. We just got tired of playing.
That checks out.
It does check out.
Well, obviously there's too many games, so we don't want to waste our time beating a game that we're not enjoying because we've got plenty.
We try. I always throw it to the group when we're I'm not really having the best time with this, but if y'all want to keep going, I think the only one I feel guilty about was Blake wanted to keep going in Dead Island 2, but I was bored out of my freaking mind.
It's not gone. It's out there. We can wear you down eventually. We can go back to it.
That's other than that, Blake was like, yeah, screw it. Some of these are one night we played, so we might not even bother. We might smash those together. Yeah, we'll have to. We can't talk about a game we played for literally one night. But we could talk about it for an hour and a half if we wanted to.
It would all be negative.
They'll have good features. It just, I feel like that we keep stumbling into things that we just don't enjoy. Even with co-oping something, it's just not fun. What do you got for Division, Blake? Since I already ruined your the announcement of that game. We said the game last episode anyway.
Yeah, it's not as a surprise as it used to be.
So the game we're talking about today on episode 135 is Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Which originally came out March 15th, 2019, so it's fairly new.
It's new by our standards.
Yeah.
That's pretty new.
And it is developed by Massive Entertainment. They are based out of Malmo, Sweden.
Really?
Yeah, they're a Swedish company.
Did not know that.
I thought that Tom Clancy was like as American as an American can get.
I mean, they might be, but the company that makes the games
That's so strange. That's cool.
They were founded in 1997. They're responsible for 11 games.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the franchise include something called Ground Control and World in Conflict.
Those sound like PC only, like strategy games.
Well,
I don't know what they are, but that's what they sound like.
And more recently, they're responsible for Star Wars Outlaws.
Wow.
Okay,
So they're responsible for Star Wars Outlaws. And then they did a...
So they didn't do Division 1.
Yeah, they did.
You didn't say that. I'm just asking.
Oh, yeah.
So they did do Division 1.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool.
As well as...
Were they working on the canceled Division 3?
Yeah.
Probably.
Was that going to be Homefront? Was that Homefront? Homeland?
Heartland. Oh,
Heartland. There you
Heartland,
go.
yeah.
That was Heartland.
That was going to be their big live service mess that just didn't make it.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is...
That was like announced and like canceled within like a month of announcement, I feel like.
Well, they canceled Heartland,
Mm-hmm.
but that does not mean they canceled Division 3. They're still working on Division 3. Heartland was designed to do be like a fortnight, be a live service, be a huge thing, but it didn't go over well. And so
I wonder why it wouldn't, because when we play Division 2, it was active.
It was pretty active.
When you go into the hubs where there's people around, there's lots of people running around in there.
So I guess I'm not sure, but it says, well, the other thing too is that Division 3 is currently in development. Heartland was going to be a free-to-play, self-contained thing with all the free service, but that got canned. And then they switched it over to, it's called Tom Clancy's The Division Resurgence, which was a free-to-play on Android and iOS. And that's,
I knew there had been
they
a
scaled back. They
phone-based game
scaled
at
back
some point.
dramatically.
yeah. And that's supposed to be released later on this
And
year.
there's still developers on that.
Mm-hmm. And they're still working on Division 3.
But yeah, let's make a Division phone game. That's what everybody's clamoring for.
People do.
I know.
Hey, but yeah, people play like
it'll be, but weirdly enough, it'll be a different crowd than the console players.
Yeah,
They'll
it'll
just
be
find
those
some other.
PUBG and Call of Duty mobile players, and those guys. I don't get it. I've tried both, and I hate touch controls. My fingers are too dry.
Can't do it. Too dry.
Yeah,
You need
have
nice,
dry hands.
you need
and you
moist
won't pick up
fingers for your
screen.
mobile gaming.
Yeah,
Nice and
dude.
moist.
You got to. Or your touch capacitive screen won't pick it up.
On their screen. Sorry, my fingers are too dry. Sorry,
I'm
team, they're
shooting you
too
right
dry.
now, but my thumb's
Like,
too
I'm leaving
dry.
scratch marks on my screen, guys. I gotta moisturize. Basically, they're founded in '97, Massive Entertainment, and then in 2008 they were officially bought, absorbed, whatever, by Ubisoft. So they've been a subsidiary of Ubisoft since '08.
So they're technically first party.
And
Good for them.
Impressive
because
just to
of it,
exist.
this is crazy.
Well,
too.
Ubisoft isn't. They're not as bad as EA for
True.
its current. Well, who knows? But they're not.
This is crazy because the best information I could find was as of last year. But as of last year, 2024, they had 750 employees.
Ubisoft or that company does.
Massive Entertainment has 750 employees.
Living up to that name, ain't they?
Yeah, I guess it has a lot to do with all the live service and stuff because they're still
Yeah,
doing.
Division 2. I think when we played it, they hadn't announced anything new for a while, but still.
They had just come out with that New York.
The
Oh yeah,
Warlords
the
of-
Kings of New York
Yeah,
Warlords.
Kings of New York.
that we didn't play, and we'll talk about why we didn't play it at the later in this podcast. Why we didn't bother playing it. Yeah, Kings of New York was newish, wasn't
Warlords.
it? When we Warlords, you said. Yeah,
Warlords
Warlords
of
of
New
New York. Yeah.
Yeah, it was new.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
that was
so
the reason we decided to get into it because you could buy that. It was like a
version.
special deal version.
Yeah, we might have bought it and owned the Warlords of New York, but we're not messing
Hey,
with it right now.
did you mention Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora?
Yeah, I was
Did
getting to
that
that.
too?
People were stoked about that game, and I've heard it's good. I just don't
I've
like
got it
Avatar.
sitting right over here, still in the cellophane. I
There
bought
you
it for
go.
like $12. I plan on playing it sometime.
Because the core team
Mm-hmm.
finished this and they moved on to Avatar, and their secondary team was the one that worked on the DLCs and Warlords and is
Well, when you got a team that big, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah,
They-
you could
I
have
don't know anything
so many
about the
teams.
Avatar game, but that is something they
Well,
worked on.
they had one team that stayed on Division. They had another team that made Frontier. They had another team because they had plenty of people to go on and make a Star Wars Outlaws apparently.
Yeah,
And
Avatar
another
is
team,
like
and another team making the mobile game, and another team making Division 3. They're okay. They got plenty of people. That's
I didn't
crazy.
realize
That
they were
they
so huge.
well, it's weird that the name of that company is not really in the zeitgeist, considering the kind of games they're making and the kind of stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
Outlaws is doing really well, as far as I know.
I mean, but
I won't
if,
play
People
it.
like it.
I don't
but
play
if you
Star
do
Wars
well
games.
in the video game industry, they shut you down.
That's true. They do.
If you
Yeah.
do bad, they shut you down. You have to do mediocre at best.
Yeah, you got to keep your name out of the news.
Exactly. You can't have any sort of splash.
Yeah, I mean, Outlaws is doing well as far as I know. I mean, it didn't make the biggest splashes that maybe they wanted.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's doing fine.
It's
and
solid though.
they're editing, like they're not editing. They're I say editing. They're patching stuff like stuff people hate, so they're kind of listening. Like you read about the when the stealth sections of Outlaws it used to be fail state.
Yeah,
And now if you get caught, you just open fire.
yeah.
People
yeah.
like that, so it's like cool. At least they're making
They're
good
listening,
changes. Yeah,
which is rare.
more than any other company.
Yeah. I mean, even let me get through this and we'll talk about things that they listen to.
Yeah, okay.
One of the cool things is means you do always try to talk about like what game engines were used.
Mhm.
It's usually Unreal or
Unity.
Unity, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is actually kind of cool. Massive Entertainment, for one of the very few people, they have their own in-house engine.
Please tell me
Again?
they got a cool name.
It's called Snowdrop,
Okay, that's acceptable.
and I mean, I don't know what some of
And they
this
use that
stuff
for all the
means.
games, like
All their
Outlaws
games.
used it.
Well, it's like all their games post. I forget what date it was.
Probably Division 1, maybe.
Probably, I think so.
'Cause Division-
Okay, no, it said their Snowdrop engine was in '09. Is when they started it.
Okay,
So like a
man,
year after Ubisoft.
got that Ubisoft money to
Mhm.
make it
yeah,
engine.
that's
But
dedicated to.
The biggest thing for for engines is maintaining your own engine is cost and manpower, and they apparently maybe they have both.
Yeah, but
Sounds like
these
it.
are some of the features that the Snowdrop engine does, and then I can get maybe into some more detail on that. Node-based scripting system. Don't know what that is. Realistic
nodes.
day and night changes. Realistic day and night changes. So like the sun, like it's not just like dark night. It's like gradual throughout the whole day.
Twilight.
Global volumetric lighting. So there's light constant, changes, people coming in and out of shadows, and with the day and night cycles,
Yeah.
and where it goes depending.
People like okay, I don't know. So people really love like it's day and night cycles is brought up so much in gaming that like, do we care? Do people care that much about day
I
and
think
night cycles?
right now, light rays and like DLSS and all that, like light gets a huge,
Mhm.
huge portion of the, I don't know, the news when something comes out. And I think it's just a way to show off the horsepower and show off how well the engine runs.
Mm.
Well, there's that because you got to think some games will be like it's daytime all the time, and so you're seeing the best of the game.
Mm.
It never goes, you
So,
know.
do we remember the day and nighttime cycle of Division 2?
I mean, I remember it being day and nighttime. And Wolf would go and rest so that it would be daytime because that's nighttime far too long.
Yeah.
Is that
As with every game.
I can't remember. So
Yeah.
do we have that issue in Division 2? I don't remember.
We have that issue in every game because
Well, I just know Division 2 specifically had a day and night where like night comes on. We like
we would go to whatever thing and rest until day.
Baytime. Is that a thing? Okay, I don't remember doing that.
There was something, or did we? I think we maybe just plowed through it.
I don't remember it
some
being.
cases.
I don't remember it being. I don't remember it being
think-
dark in the game.
A lot of, well, that's what you're in. The only time it was ever really dark is when you were in a building or whatever. When you're outside, they're still working street lights and stuff in a lot of areas. So, I mean, it wasn't terrible.
And there's a few more things to cover. Besides that, there is the procedural destruction, which I don't know what procedural is like random or is it scripted?
Procedural, like it random. It'll like you break something, it'll break a different way every time.
And
It's pretty cool.
And advanced particle system and visual effects moderator, dynamic material shader, and live stat tracking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Procedural destruction would be a horsepower intensive thing, especially when it has to couple with. I'm guessing they probably use Havoc for their Havoc engine. They probably pair that with Havoc, which is the most commonly used physics engine these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a little bit more here that the engine was mainly coded in whatever C++ is by a gentleman named Rodrigo Cortez. And he worked for Massive. And it was initially designed for specifically PC next gen. They wanted to do things better, not bigger.
I would say Division 1, Division 2,
They're not
and
massive.
Outlaws is not known for size. It's bigger, but they're smaller than other Ubisoft games. That's for sure.
Oh, 110% there. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm playing what's it called right now? On and off again. I'm playing Odyssey. Whew.
Yeah, it's massive.
That's a good sized game.
Let's see what else. One of the other features includes a physically based rendering, whatever that is. I guess
Saying a bunch of things we don't know what they are.
I'm trying to sound smart.
But they're features.
But yeah,
it's just cool and kind of cool. We do mention the engines here and there. A lot of people listen to podcasts won't even know the difference. They don't even know if Epic or whatever, Unreal or Unity comes up on your game. It's in the little thing when you turn your game on. It flashes by real fast.
Yeah, it's always on the title screen.
Yeah, you'll know. It's just basically it's much cheaper to just pay Epic or whoever owns Unity to let them to use their engine. That's why you see Unreal and Unity mostly.
Unity's their own thing, aren't they?
Is Unity just Unity? Okay,
I think so.
They Unreal.
Yeah, because there's a reason that there's a reason they're a company that because it takes so many resources, so many people that they have to maintain that engine all the time. So
yeah. I'm just double checking, make sure
I think another one. Not that it matters, anybody cares. I think Frostbite is another one. That's an EA engine.
Yeah, we talked about that fairly recently with an EA thing, like as of like 2018. All game anyone under the EA umbrella uses Frostbite.
I guess Vanguard. More recently, Vanguard. People were talking about Dragon Age Vanguard. I guarantee that was on Frostbite. They want to use it. So like somebody like EA who all cares about money, they would make every game Frostbite to try to recoup the cost of maintaining Frostbite.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely spoke about Frostbite.
There's a Havoc.
Well,
who has Havoc engine?
Valve. That's a physics engine. That's Valve's thing. They've had it.
Which one does Forbidden or Horizon?
The Decima engine.
Decima.
I love that.
That's what. Yeah,
Death Stranding, right?
Yeah. Only Horizon and Death Stranding use Decima.
I knew there was another big one out there that I couldn't think of.
It's massive, but it's only been used in 3 things. But those are like
when you read about. I'm a dork, man.
Pretty.
When you read about what Decima does, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Like it's so unique how Decima runs stuff and does things. We're getting to like a game engine podcast. Nobody's gonna listen about that mess. I think it's cool, man. I don't know. I don't want to be a game developer because that sucks the fun right out of something you love being a game developer. I don't want to do that, but I like to read.
Don't ever make your hobby your career. That's the best way to kill your hobby.
Kill any passion you have with it.
Says the guy who's a farmer who loves farming simulating games.
Okay, I'm guilty of that, but I only have like 175 hours in the newest farm sim, and that's nothing for real fans. Okay.
Yeah. That's nothing after getting out of 12-hour shift of hauling a combine, cutting crops.
Hauling a
Well,
combine.
driving a combine, not hauling.
We do haul them. You had it right.
Hey,
For 12 hours listening to podcasts about video games that are probably talking about farming simulator so you can go home and play farming simulator after working a farm
Now,
all day.
see, there's where you're wrong because there are not as many farming simulator podcasts as you would want there to be.
there's
You're
got
not
to be
looking
one.
hard
There's
enough.
got to be one out there somewhere.
I guarantee there is. I just never. I got too much
And
stuff to
they
listen to
role
already.
play. He's like, today I'm Farmer John, and we're gonna cut some crops. And he just goes about his farmer days.
Same thing we did yesterday and the day before.
But I did it in a vertical pattern as opposed to horizontal pattern.
And this time
Really
I'm just going organic and following circles.
Riveting, riveting.
yes. And just the one last like kind of quick thing. The founder is a gentleman named Martin Wolfeis. And as far as I can tell, he is still attached to the company. But they've been big, like Massive is
Massive.
been big from like almost the get-go. Because even right here, some like their notes and stuff is like in 2007 they've released the World in Conflict, which is like this RTS game, and I said it all in 2007 before they were even purchased. So less than 10 years, they've been active for 10 years and already had 130 employees. It's also
Before.
Sweden, so people are just like
Happier.
happy, I guess. They don't have to
Yeah.
worry about healthcare, and their jails are non-criminal, but they're turning them to hotels and stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that. Their crime's so down there, they turn their jails into other things.
Yeah. And a lot of times I think some of the jails are like, you can come and go. they let them, it's like an honor system. Like, what?
Oh, well,
You feel bad for what you did? Yeah. All right, get out of here.
All right, go on home then.
oh,
Say hi to your wife for me.
yeah. So there's a crazy thing. So just more of massive detail. They had another parent company called VII Games, which they had from
Yeah,
97 to 2007. Activision bought them and then sold the company to Ubisoft.
Yeah, God, it's changing hands. Millions of dollars just flying
Yeah.
back and forth.
Flying
As
back
long as
and
it's not as long as Embracer Group don't get involved.
Yeah.
Embracer
I
Group's the
didn't
dirty word
realize-
of the industry.
Is Vivendi gone then? Because I remember that from when I was a kid. I remember Vivendi.
Well, it
Remember
just said
Vivendi?
subsequent internal
Yeah.
reorganization after the
Oh,
merger
okay.
with Activision.
That's some corporate talk if I've
Yeah.
ever heard it.
Yeah, it is.
And then on November 10th, 2008, Ubisoft acquired Massive Entertainment. In March of 2009, after the acquisition, the former CEO Martin Wolfitz left the company.
Making successful games, and Ubisoft, I guess, is happy
Yeah.
with them.
And then they were free. They didn't know what to do with
I mean,
them.
they gave him a freaking Star Wars project.
Yeah.
You don't give. I mean, I don't like Star Wars, but I know it's like for a company to land a Star Wars project is a big deal.
And
Yeah,
so they
for
didn't
sure.
know what to do with them. They was like, we got this really talented group of people. We don't know what to do with them. So they collabed on Assassin's Creed Revelations
Mhm.
and Far Cry 3. And then in 2013, they announced that they were working on The Division. They came to them with,
I remember when Division was first announced, man, and it was really the first trailers of Division. I was like, this looks sick. Like this looks
Yeah.
awesome, man. Those first trailers of Division 1.
oh yeah, the Division 1 sold massive.
Everybody take a drink on how many times every time we say massive in this
No, no.
this podcast. I got water right here. It's too early for anything else.
But just Larry in E3 in 2013, Massive announced the next game being Tom Clancy's The Division 1. The game was released on March 8th, 2016, sold more copies in its first 24 hours than any game in Ubisoft's history.
Ooh, snap.
The biggest first week of a new game franchise, generating in the first 5 days $330 million.
Good grief.
And they cemented their spot in Ubisoft in
Yep.
24 hours.
They'll run them into the ground.
And we'll go ahead and say, like, I really like, this is the Division 2 podcast, but me and Blake played this way back when, before we were playing under Brian. Me and Blake played Division 1 and really enjoyed it. When we were starting Division 2, we looked at our TAs, and we apparently got the 1K in Division 1 and don't remember doing it, but I remember having a great time with Division 1.
And I played a ton of Division 1 online.
Mhm.
Those guys from Discord. I mean, yeah, a lot.
Yeah, it's a good game. I'll say, like, we'll talk about. We're gonna talk about both of them. We got to talk about both of them just in general. I like the the city. What city are you in Division One?
New York.
So you're still,
New York during like wintertime.
So I guess Warlords of New York goes back to New York. So I like New York better than Division Two's in Washington.
Yeah,
I think the environment New York is just more interesting and more. I don't say dynamic. I don't want to say dynamic in a podcast.
You're not the only person. A lot of people thought that it wasn't as atmospheric as New York, because you're like, oh, it's just
New York in the snow and all the way it was set up. I like the just the get moving around. Division One I think was better, but you can't. How many games could you make in the same city? And then, now, granted, they did make Warlords in New York. I guess they're like, we're going back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but I just think it's definitely kind of cool. And one other cool just thing about Outlaws by itself is it is the first Star Wars game made outside of EA since they got the rights in May of 2013.
Oh, so EA still have the rights?
Yeah.
How do they?
Since they acquired the rights right here, say
EA is not one to share.
Yeah, I don't know. It just says right here. I'm just going to read the paragraph. In January 2021, newly reformed Lucasfilm Games announced that Massive started working on a new Star Wars open world title. This would be the first Star Wars game outside of EA or Electronic Arts since they acquired them in May 2013. They acquired in May 2013 a contract to produce all Star Wars related titles.
I didn't think about that. I actually
So I don't know how.
Maybe before this conversation, I might have thought Outlaws was an EA game because EA does have the Star Wars license. Yeah. They did both Jedi Survivor games,
and it just
Battlefront 1 and 2.
Maybe if I go into detail, but that's the paragraph just says that they're the first people to do a Star Wars game. If it's not EA since 2013. It says they still have the contract for it, so I don't know.
This is weird.
Maybe it's because they're not using licensed characters.
I'll guarantee there's licensed characters, and you don't make a Star Wars game without licensed characters.
No,
have you played Outlaws, Brian?
No, I haven't played Outlaws.
Okay, so none of us have played it, so I don't know if there's any. There's no way. There's got to be cameos in there.
Yeah,
that is a weird spot because people, especially somebody like EA, would not pay for a license and then share it. There's no way.
No,
there's no way at all. Especially with both the Jedi games doing really well.
That's on the Snowdrop engine. Yeah, I don't know. It just everything says that it. I'm sure if I went into like details, I might say more, but it's Massive and Ubisoft. There's no EA attached to that game at all. It even uses the Snowdrop engine.
Interesting.
So it might be something. Maybe
weird.
Maybe we could look into it.
I'm not playing it. I don't play Star Wars games. You could.
I'll play it eventually.
Yeah, with Star Wars Outlaws, you're not dealing with dumb Jedi.
It's too much Star Wars stuff for me.
You're a bounty hunter.
Yeah, the game was probably originally supposed to be a what's his name game.
Mandalorian game.
No, they canceled that one too. The Mando. Well, that was this one. There was a game that was originally a Boba Fett game that became a Mandalorian game, and then it got canceled.
I thought that's what. No, that was something else.
Is that what Outlaws eventually became? I don't have no idea.
Remember?
Because they take too long to decide this stuff, and now the stuff's out of the zeitgeist. Nobody cares about Mandalorian until the movie comes out.
Nope.
Yeah, just we keep going on these tangents. Before keep talking about the people, is just real quick, just some behind the scenes. The director for the game is a gentleman, Julian Garrity, and he worked on The Crew, the Division 2, and Outlaws, and he is the director for the Division 3.
Did they announce anything for Division 3, like where it's at or anything? Probably not.
Just says it's in production. It's all
too early.
Mm-hmm. And there's a co-director named Matthias Carlson, and he also worked on this and Outlaws, and might co-direct.
God, I would hate because we live in Nashville, such a growing freaking city, like Division 3 in Nashville, Tennessee. Please don't.
Lord, have everyone talking like that.
They talked about Seattle and New Orleans for Division 2 when they were floating. So I wonder if they go to
New
one
Orleans
of those.
Would be cool.
New Orleans, that's what I was thinking too, because then you could have water and everything else.
Water issues, yeah.
They should just pull a fastball and just be like Omaha, Nebraska. One of the two cities in Nebraska.
You got Omaha half farming, Sam. This is going to be right up my alley.
It's just flat and corn and wheat. It'd be funny. It'd be different. People don't put stuff in Nebraska.
Funny, different, unsuccessful. All of these things
killed the company. Whoops, we picked the wrong town.
Well, the next one could just be in Colorado with all the hipsters. Everyone's got twirly mustaches and overalls and beanies.
Hey, you're never going to beat Far Cry 5. Don't go out there.
I like the New Orleans idea.
Yeah, New Orleans could be cool.
Yeah, they should have done that instead of DC for sure.
Yeah, because you imagine just encountering like a gator or something. Because there's no wildlife. Do we encounter any wildlife?
You see deer, but I mean, no wildlife can harm you. But you see deer and dogs and birds.
Yeah, dogs digging through trash and birds. I just imagine, I don't know, just being accosted by a gator.
I've been attacked by gators in so many video games.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
I could.
Still, it's shocking. It's terrifying.
Red Dead 2. I love
Hmm.
getting attacked by gators. Man.
And then
By gators in Assassin's Creed Origins. Lots of
Mm.
gators in that, and hippos.
now this is kind of cool too because they like I said, for a company that has so many people, they have a composer named Ula Strandon, and they've done all the music,
All of it.
all of it except for Star Wars and Avatar because those are licensed by.
Mm.
But
Mm.
I'm guessing Ula is a woman. But she did music for everything.
It's cool to have one person
Yeah,
composing when you have that big of a
she's
team.
done 8 of their 11 games.
It's
Awesome.
impressive.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
I don't know any music that stands out in Division, but
Yeah. Go back.
Very
and
much
maybe-
background music.
Yeah. Good luck, Brian, finding some of that really sweet tunes.
Well, I mean, yeah, it'll be easy to find. The
yeah, 'cause
question
it's
is,
a big enough, it's a
which-
big enough game. Yeah, but
yeah,
it'll be just
what of it will we
ambient.
want to
Good or
listen
worth
to?
listening.
The soundtrack to Division's mostly gunfire.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's kind of it for like behind the scenes and like keynote people and stuff like that. Where do we want to begin?
Well, just game. I mean,
At the beginning.
It's a game about gameplay, and
It is
mean-
a
A cover shooter.
yeah,
first
it's
and
a third
foremost.
person.
yeah, it's not a stand out in the open, shoot people kind of game.
No,
not at all.
definitely not.
Yeah, that's maybe it's the biggest difference. Is a cover shooter is important.
And that's one of the reasons I like it so much because when I
Art-
first came to Division One, that was such a big difference from
Mhm.
other things that I'd played. You know, because I was never a what's that one on Xbox? Gears of War. I was never a Gears of War guy, and I guess that was the other largest cover shooter. So
Mm. Well, when D-Day comes out, I guarantee it has 3-player co-op. We're going to drag you through that mess.
no, I'm in. I just never played it back in the day.
We've
Did
tried
have we talked about that on the podcast? I think we did. You probably heard us talk about it on the podcast.
I think
Like
yeah, I
how-
think yeah.
the most bland, boring franchise we've ever played.
You're like, how are
Damn.
people? How are these action packed?
They're known for their set pieces in action. And when we were playing, we played the remake of 1, and then we played 4 and 5, I think.
Mhm.
And man, can you fall asleep playing a video game? You bet I can. In the
I've
middle
only
of a
ever
gunfight.
touched 5 for a little bit, and yeah, it's like you said, it's supposed to be action driven and fast and everything else. And I'm like, you feel like you're walking through molasses the entire time. It's like I'm not
And
enjoying
they're
this.
doing
I
the
just quit.
exact,
It's the same
the
thing every
exact
time.
same storyline for 5 games.
Locust, mutated locust, crystallized locust.
We got to get the bomb to the nest. We got to get the nuke to the nest. It's the same storyline over and over. Get what D-Day is going to be about: getting a bomb to a hive. Guarantee it. There's no way it's not about getting a bomb to a hive. That's all they do and yell at each other. It's just like, man, this is a super successful franchise that's now being announced. It's one of the Microsoft's franchise to be launching on PS5s. So people are so excited. And I'm
Oh,
just
they'll be
like,
pumped, and they'll sell millions and millions of dollars worth of crap.
mhm.
They got a
And the-
chainsaw gun, so you know.
Speaking of that, I think of all people, Batista is advocating for a Gears of War either
He wanted-
movie
he
or
wanted-
TV show, and he
wanted
wants
the movie,
to.
yeah.
Yeah, he
be
wants to
in
be
it.
Marcus Phoenix.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. I'd watch
I
it.
want
Can
to
we-
watch him as Marcus Phoenix.
yeah. I love Batista, fantastic actor.
You're getting off the.
Yeah, I know we keep completely talking about other stuff. So we have because it is in fact a third person shooter. What do you guys remember? What weapons y'all used? What style? Because I have the
Oh.
list here of like the weapon archetypes and stuff like that.
Now, style, sure. I was an assault rifle and then a bolt action guy.
Yeah, that's me and Brian had that same similar. We like the single shot and stuff like that.
I think I fell that way because I tried shotguns and I tried like the pistols and I tried some of the other stuff. I never used submachine guns in any game
I
ever.
don't either. Yeah,
'Cause I think I had like a
I think I would have
I
had
think I had a burst assault rifle and I had a light machine gun just for
I would have had I assume I would have had a rifle.
yeah marksman rifle probably 'cause
And then some sort of shotgun in case we go inside a building, close quarters would be my guess.
because the categories were assault rifles, submachine guns, light machine guns, marksman rifles, shotguns, and sidearms. And they added a new category for Division 2 that was just rifles. Just rifles.
Straight up rifle.
And they did because of the online thing and the lootness, it ranged from the different standards, which were worn, standard, specialized, superior, high end, and exotic.
AKA different colors. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I ever looked at was what color was my loot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is it? White,
Like, yeah,
green.
white or gray.
It's like when grandma burps, Patrick obeys.
Yeah, green, blue, purple, orange,
Yeah.
gold, or something like that.
Mhm. But yeah, so I think we all kind of fell to the same because the combat happens all the time, but you want accuracy and distance because you get bum rushed.
Hmm.
Besides that, though, we did get what do you call it? The SHD technology.
Yeah, shader caches.
Mhm. But do you guys, because there's a couple of these different technologies, which were like your ability triggers, and as you progress through the game, you got one, and then you got a second one that you could have equipped at any time, but you had access to all of them as you
All of them if you
progressed.
wanted them. Yeah, I forget
Yeah.
which one. I think the drone was like the main go-to,
But yeah,
like the mainstay.
we had here the pulse, the sticky bomb, the turret, seeker mine,
Oh, I used a turret.
ballistic shield, chem launcher, decoy, drone, firefly, hive trap, and the shade automated turret.
It's two turrets.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there were. I think it's the same thing because each one of these had three different categories that you could buy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I used the seeker mines. That was my favorite.
Those were fun. Yeah,
Because you put them on like a little RC car,
little ball that just rolls
It was a
off
little
and murders
ball, yeah, and
people.
you just highlighted who you wanted to chase.
I stuck with the drones most of the time because you had
Mm.
like the machine gun drones and they would just destroy people.
Yeah,
I think I got to a
And you
point where
got the
all three of
healing
us
drone.
equipped the machine gun drones because they would just devastate people.
I think I
Yeah.
eventually moved on to drone because I started with the turret, and then I think I tried the flamethrower turret. It wasn't as fun as you thought it would be. I don't know. Flamethrowers are rarely good in video games, so I went back to the machine gun, and it just murders people for you.
It murders people, but then it's not mobile. But then the drones will hunt people.
Yeah,
I think we all started the seeker mines and the drones.
because you have two equips, like
Mhm.
drone and
Yeah,
seeker mine
right.
on your bumpers.
I think I kept the pulse as like as a support thing, so it would highlight all the people when they were hiding.
Yeah,
But I
Yeah.
think I had a pulse equipped and the drone. But those drones are I'm talking
stuff was cool. That stuff was different. There was like tech stuff in Division 1, right? But they didn't have what as many options,
I
or
think there weren't as many there weren't
I
as
think I
many
remember having a
options.
turret in Division 1.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
yeah, there was
little
turrets.
briefcase turret, but there wasn't the different you had just a turret. It wasn't like a flamethrower or this or automate, you know.
Mm.
Well, I think that's what it was because you had the turrets that you set down, and there was a flamethrower, a machine gun, and then the automated one like walked around.
I don't remember a walking turret.
Now I
Or
don't
maybe
remember a
it was in one of
movable
the
one.
DLCs or something. But it says it's at the very bottom here, so it must have been it's the last thing
That
added,
could have been in
a New York
the
thing.
New York thing. Yeah, the
Mm,
Warlords of New York, maybe.
yeah.
Surely they wouldn't put out a DLC and not give you new toys.
But yeah, they got to. It's part of the fun.
Yep. And the other thing,
Uh-huh.
uh-huh, is the game has a level cap of level 30.
I hate level caps. Gosh.
But with the Warlords of New York, they added up to 40. But it's one of the because it's like that online thing where some things don't even open up till you hit max level.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
you can go through the whole game, you don't even get access to a grenade until level 30.
Just a grenade, really?
Yeah, the grenade and all it's connected to your specializations.
I don't remember using grenades. That's probably true. Cool. I mean, really, when you have seeker mines and turrets and all this other stuff, do you really need? I mean, a seeker mine is just a grenade that
Yeah,
That
makes
does the job for
hunts
you.
your target down. Yeah,
Yeah.
no throwing a grenade that just misses.
And that whole
'Cause
the level cap thing is very misleading when you talk about games like the Division because the level doesn't matter nearly as much as the quality of the gear that you're carrying and the
Yeah.
quality of the weapons that you have because you
we
know
call
that
it
you
the
have that
gear
other
score.
yeah
Is it
that gear score.
is it the maps divided by level 2? So like that's
Yeah.
it's like Muller's just an indicator of whether or not you should go in that area
Right.
more than
Yep.
anything like that.
But once you hit the level 30, you were given a choice of specialization, which gave you a special weapon that was only tied to that
I
specialization.
remember hitting that. Yeah.
And they were a minigun, a crossbow, a K8 Jetstream flamethrower, the M3 grenade launcher,
So look at a crossbow.
the P17 missile launcher, and something called the TACT 50 caliber rifle.
That's what I went for.
Some of those sound
Had to
like
be.
that they might have been DLC ones. I thought we only had 3 choices or something to begin with.
That's it.
Remember the flamethrower and the crossbow and the other thing. I don't remember like a missile launcher being
And
one
they
of the
were-
choices.
No, I remember using a crossbow.
Yeah, I think me and Brian both picked crossbow.
Yeah, but it came with like extra stats or something too, like high crit rate or something.
Yeah.
But yeah. And so it's one of the things. Let me delete these as I'm going through them so I don't need to come back. So, like I said, speaking of like listening to people, we spoke about them earlier that they definitely have been listening to fans. in regards to like outlaws and stuff like that.
I think
But
Division had a Division 2 had some big overhauls based on
mhm.
fan feedback.
I got it right here that the developers evaluated feedback from the first game and included more game content at launch. So they
Mhm.
were like, people were like, "Oh, there's not enough to do in the game," so they
That's the
and
psychos that beat a
yeah,
game the day
I
it
know.
comes out, though.
Yeah,
So,
they're
but
always out
in
there.
order, hold on, to get my thoughts straight. So, in order for that, maybe this be right here, the the game's in-game development was prioritized. The studio was surprised at the speed of which players consumed the base game of Division 1 and were left with nothing to do.
Hmm.
The end game in Division 2 was designed to be more robust and further enhance the replayability. Now, it includes some stuff that I think we should talk about, but not until we talk. Do you guys want to talk about it now? Things that led us to stop playing the game?
Well, I mean, I don't want to go into. Well, we should talk about just our. I think we talk about just. I mean, we could talk about this city and moving around this city as compared to
So
Division
we'll
One,
come back to the post
and
game.
kind of the mission structure was really. I mean, it's a shooting game. Your mission structure really is like talking to this dude, and he's like, "I need you to go over and
Yeah.
kill this guy for me."
I
Yeah,
can't
kill
tell
these
you a
people,
single
rescue these
person's
people.
name.
Yeah, it's very samey, and I get why this could be like I could get this being a turn on after work, relax with your buddies, go do
Definitely.
a couple of the same mission kind of thing over and over again. Because I mean, the most fun we would have had with this probably would have been chit chatting and stuff like that, walking to a place, talking, just blowing people's heads off. The game is kind of samey, but people like stuff. This is that kind of live, so people like stuff like this where you kind of log in and kind of just do a couple of missions, and there's not a lot of variety to what you're doing in this game. I mean, I don't know.
And it's got a good enough loot cycle to
Hmm.
keep bringing because
You're
you're just
always finding
chasing
a
that
better
next
gun.
gun, yeah, with the higher stats.
And we should mention that's not just guns. You have full armor sets and
Yeah,
stuff
you
too.
have
Oh
like
yeah.
full clothing option, like so many customization options and
Yeah.
stuff, and silly little cosmetics and stuff. But they all, I mean, all the it does do a cool thing where like if you buy a better piece of gear and you're like, oh, it doesn't fit my scheme, you can go in and change the skin to match
Hmm.
your outfit. So you're not
Which is
walking
pretty
around with
smart.
like a blue shoulder pad or red pant, and
I don't remember changing things. I like just looking like a
looking
nutbag.
like a psycho.
Is that everything? Whatever it looks like is what I look like.
Generic character 3.
That happens.
Yeah. It had a. I don't think Division One had it, but there is like a hub. Like, is that at the White House? Like the hub?
The actual hub,
Yeah,
I
that
think,
was the hub.
the tutorial is making it to the White House and beating
Yeah.
all the people around the
So
White
this
House.
does have the hubs where like now we were just playing together. We didn't really care about playing with randoms because why would we? There's three of us. That's more than enough for any game. I feel like they does have a hub where you actually see other players running around. So I can
Mhm.
get that the social aspect is probably really,
Those were
really pays
the
off
safe
for some
houses
people.
too. In
Oh
every
yeah,
safe house,
you're right. Yeah,
you could see the other people that were playing in that area.
that's kind of
But it
cool.
does do that thing where like, it
Makes it
loads you
feel
opening a door and walking out, and as soon as you do that, it starts your instance, so you don't see other
Yeah,
random
they
people running
disappear
around,
then.
only inside
inside the areas.
the
Yeah,
areas. Yeah.
that's something that what's it called could learn from the any. I don't know how Monster Hunter Wild. I'm not gonna go way off topic, but all the Monster Hunter games could learn from something like that. Have your hubs be filled with people, and then you start your game when you leave the hubs. I haven't played one yet that does that. Fingers crossed the Wilds maybe gets it right, but
We'll see.
It'll be cool.
yeah,
I mean,
I
Although
like to
with
be
the
able to.
amount of players in that might be a problem.
Well, I think they would
We can't
like
even
it's like they would
process.
instance you would instance each. It would
Yeah,
be
you'd have
broken
to
up.
be.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Not when the game sells like 8 million copies in one day. I don't think they want 8 million people in one building. But Instu, I think it was nice to have your because it's weird running around a place with your friends ain't there. I mean, especially in a modern multiplayer, I just feel like it should be part of the
Yeah.
interact, trade items, stuff like that. I have a gun, you have a gun. Like we're in this hub, we're in this safe hub. I just feel like it's a and Division 2 does it so well. I
Yeah.
mean, like you said, as soon as you start a mission, you walk
They have
out
like
and
the
you're
loading
just
areas because I remember in your home base,
yeah.
it has like that little outside area, but then you go through like a decontamination thing, and then
Yeah.
you're out. Like it hides it
Yeah.
behind a load screen, but
Yeah.
you walk through the decontamination, and then you're like, it's
Still cool. It's done well. Yeah.
strategically hidden, but really good,
Yeah.
seamless
That's
almost.
cool. I like it. I mean, we don't benefit from the little those little hub areas, but like it's just it looks
Some
cool.
people
And,
do.
It's fun. It adds to
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Adds to the atmosphere that there was other groups of agents, working in the city that you're not just the only ones. Now you don't see the other agents. Obviously, when you're running around town, you wouldn't want to. It'd be like freaking Fortnite out there or something.
God, yeah.
You'd be
But
shooting at people constantly, thinking they were.
well, I guess they do
enemies.
have the PvP areas,
The
so
dark zones.
Yeah,
the dark
dark
zones. So
zones.
they do have those. I guess it does exist.
They do exist, but there's
They separate it, so
yeah.
they're really smart about how they handle this kind of stuff. I think it's done really well.
And it's really cool how you can call for backup at any time if you are a single player and you're out there.
Shoot a
You can
flare.
put out the call. Yeah.
People do show up pretty quickly,
Yeah.
especially with the game
Yeah,
being as
for sure.
populated as it is. It's really,
I
really.
think we did that once or twice for like an achievement. We called for backup or something. I remember
We might have.
requested help,
That
and
sounds
someone
right.
came. I think someone did come, and they're like,
Show up.
maybe it was like one of the first couple of times we were playing. We didn't know what it was. We're like, "What's call for help?" Oh, no, because you can call for help still, but some of the NPCs in game will come help you. Some of those, but those
Yeah,
are like,
when you
some of your missions is to
liberate
call for
outposts.
help. Yeah, liberate outposts. That's right. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
There were, like I said, like a bunch of different mission types, but they were all basically the same thing. Go here, kill this person, breach
Get
this
this,
building,
get this item,
kill
get
these
this,
people.
get this data.
Yeah.
Destroy this one thing.
But speaking of like outposts, outpost is outpost. This is just another word for safe house, wasn't it? Where we had safe houses and outposts.
Yeah, safe houses and outposts. Safe houses are different.
Safe houses were where you could like interact with, buy, like, use like in-game currency and interact with other people. That's a safe house. While the outposts were you could upgrade. Well, because remember we had to do projects.
What was that? Yeah, that thing. 'Cause I don't think Division 1 had that where you liberate an outpost and you give them. We're just like giving them trash
Your
to make their
resources,
outposts
yeah.
better.
Yeah, giving them our
Here, take
resources.
these
which were
48 plastic bottles I'm tired of carrying around.
yeah,
And this water.
electronics, metals, plastics, and something else, adhesive.
Water.
And it does like it.
Because each project you complete gives a small passive bonus, like either percentage off on your sales, percentage up, or on your buys, percentage up on your sales, and then like
And it give you
now
like a
have,
piece of gear or something
yeah, they
too.
give you a piece of gear, or you can now have, or one thing is like as you increase the things. You can now upgrade your gear at this outpost when you can only do it at safe houses or the main hub and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And each outpost you liberated did unlock an additional fast travel point, and
Yeah.
those fast travel points did help. And I think once you liberated an outpost, it did highlight like in the area like things to get like treasure chests and stuff like that, or
Yeah, it took away
Yeah.
but like a fog of war type thing. It got rid of it.
it also it semi decreased the enemy
In that area.
encounters in that area. Semi.
And it decreased those, but it also gave you NPCs that were on your side that were then patrolling routes inside
Yeah.
the territory of that
Yeah.
outpost.
So it
That's
made
pretty cool.
sense.
So you had that, and we'll talk about what happens in the end of the game. But this has that sense of progress as you're like making a difference across the city,
Yeah.
which is important. Which I think is important for a game like this, that you get that sense of progress. Yeah.
Now, because you are going across the entirety of DC,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we mentioned it briefly I think we may have spoke about it when we went through Division 1, you and me, but I don't know if it was that big because of like New York's kind of a small contained area anyway.
New York's just dense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with DC, it's kind of wide open
Mm-hmm.
and not. I mean, you had fast travel, obviously, but there were some areas that were just open.
We talked about when we were playing, like, why is there not motors? Give us a motorcycle.
Yeah, any
There's
mode of
no
transportation.
vehicle of any kind, no bike, no scooter, moped, horse, something. Man, I'll ride a donkey.
I'm not sure a donkey would be any faster, but yeah, at least it'd be less boring.
But there's no means of like getting somewhere faster. And I kind of feel like
It's really the division as a what are they? They're not a corporate structure. Whatever the division
they're like the
organization,
they're
I guess.
paramilitary.
Surely they have
organization.
paramilitary organization. Surely they have the resources to supply their agents with motorcycles.
When you can have like
You know they got dirt bikes. They've got
it'd be
that.
fun though. It'd be cool to have
would be
all
great.
this customization on your character. Why aren't we customizing a bike?
I'd take a scooter, man.
Anything just to
Be a little electric
a little bit faster. I think it'd be
Yeah, even if you have to like charge it or something, that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah,
Even if I'm
yeah.
scavenging for gas, I don't mind.
yeah, we scavenge for all. I mean, plastic bottles and other nonsense we're digging through the garbage for to hand to people. I mean, why not have find gas cans?
Because they could totally have tiered it because you could start out with like cool. Imagine doing some skateboard tricks and then gunning people. Like do skateboard and a scooter, and then you get motorcycle and what do you call that? ATV or and then and with a horse or something.
Motorcycle on ATV be kind of. I don't think they would. I don't think there's any need to go bigger than I think a motorcycle because of the.
The streets are still crowded because
Yeah, I
all
think
the
a motorcycle
infrastructure is still there.
or a full wheel ATV would be.
Yeah, that's why I'm
exactly. Those
I
are two
mentioned a
good.
horse because these post-apocalyptic things always have horses for mobility.
Last of us
Yeah.
for horses. Yeah, I would have taken a horse.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And all the cool skins you could get for everything, out of nowhere, your horse is just like a camel or something, just for no reason.
I want a
They could have had
zebra.
some fun with it. Maybe that'll be in the third one. I would just like, because just sometimes you're like walking through the
I mean,
desolate city.
knowing the company, if there was enough, I mean, maybe people don't care. Maybe that's just us three. If there was enough ask, they would have done it. Now, I don't think you could just patch in vehicles. That's a
No.
whole different part. Something I feel like that needs to be addressed at the beginning of development. It's not an easy
Yeah, it
just
wouldn't work
patch
that
in
good.
cars now. Yeah,
But
it
then
would.
as enemy dense as the areas are, maybe part of the problem is, I mean, you'd be pulling a massive train of antagonists behind you because you
Hmm.
can't walk a block without running into a group of 6 or 8 to fight
Yeah.
everywhere you
I
go.
wonder if I also wonder if maybe they didn't want you just running folks over with a bike or something like that. Maybe because it just kind of took away from the gunplay. 'Cause people would be finding ways to just use their vehicle to kill people.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know. I think there's a way to do it, and a lot of times because there's a lot of just like trudging across this of this more wide open sections of this map. You're just like, man, we talked about it too. We weren't streaming back then, but we would have heard us complaining back then. Like, why is there not something to
Mm.
carry me over here, even with fast travel?
There is some cool, like, people talk about you know certain games and like taking place in realistic locations but not being accurate and this, that, and the other.
I was going to ask what's the
The
accuracy for this one?
developers describe their DC map as a one-to-one recreation.
No way.
It says
That takes so much work.
they use the geographic information system and LiDAR data to create a floor plan of the in-game map, which was the entirety of DC. It's the entirety.
As I say, it's a 1-to-1 scale.
It's a one-to-one scale.
Maybe that's why it took so long to get everywhere.
Yeah.
It says developers said that Washington, D.C. offered a diverse environment.
I do get the way it is more diverse than New York. I get I understand the choice of going to Washington. I just find it less appealing than New York.
But it said that the Division 2 contains 6 biomes, while the predecessor only had 2.
Yeah, snow and not snow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's say, unlike the city blocks of New York, where it's designed and cramped, Washington D.C. was designed to be open and spacious, which then prompted them to improve the enemy AI so they could use terrain to their advantage, flanking players and generally behaving much more aggressively towards the players.
Are aggressive. I would to that I would say yes. New York is dense and more like of a crowded environment. That's also an environment we don't see all the time. And I think that's why to me the Division Ones appeals more. We have plenty of big, open, spacious, open world games. It kind of leads this one to be just another big, open, spacious game. That's why I think it's more unique to be in that. There's not any. I mean, what other games are in New York?
I'm
Excuse
sure
me,
there's a
sir.
lot
Are
of
you
games in New
forgetting
York.
this is a Ubisoft game? It has to be open world. It has
Well,
to be
now,
massive. It has to be.
yeah. Division One was still big, but
Yeah.
like it was the way it was since it's a Division One pocket. But like you would go down the street, but it kept it where like you're doing a mission, go down the streets, all the streets of New York, and then but like you get a cross, but like two are like covered by piles of cars or rubble, so you got to go this way. So it kind of like directed you and kept you
It funneled you,
moving
yeah.
like a funneled movement, and kind of prefer that. That's why I said they're the same franchise, but kind of very different styles. I feel like of game, and I just prefer I had to prefer
Like
the
I said,
first
if you're going to do open world, give me something to write on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded as much because we were just huffing it,
hoofing it.
whatever, huffing paint and hoofing it.
We were doing all of it. It was post apocalypse. There's no rules.
Rules.
Mhm.
So speaking of post-apocalypse, do you have any notes on what is happening in this game? We have a bad habit of when we play games together, we have no idea what's happening, which I think is a lot of people who play games with their friends and family. You don't not paying attention to what's going on.
It takes place a few months after Division 1 because Division 1 takes place during the Christmas time, right after the virus hit and spread across the Black Friday across all the physical money. And so that's why New York it's snowing because it takes place during the wintertime. And it's like super sunny here in DC or whatever because it's a few months later. And so we're not in the dead of winter.
Mhm.
So it just says a few months later. So I'm guessing May,
Yeah.
April.
I would
Did it rained sometimes, didn't it? Or
It
no?
rained.
Yeah, it
Was it
rained.
always?
the dynamic day and night. They have dynamic weather.
Yeah, I think there was rain.
I think there
'Cause
was
I'm-
some rainy. I don't remember.
So I'd be more impressed with dynamic weather. You don't see that in games. That's more
Not very
complicated than
often.
sun going up and down. Dynamic weather. Does any game have
Yeah, that's
dynamic
few.
weather?
Hey, actually, Farming Simulator 25 has dynamic weather, complete with tornadoes.
Wow.
How about that?
While
It does
you're
crop damage and everything.
It does have a dynamic day-night cycle. If not, I don't want anything to do with
It
it.
does actually.
did a tornado
So
hit
suck it.
while you're farming?
Yeah,
does it
yeah,
happen
it can.
You
overnight?
get sucked off into a tornado.
Game
Okay.
No,
over.
no, that part doesn't happen, but no.
That's pretty neat.
Well,
Yeah.
then it's
So
completely
the
unrealistic. You
closest
can't
thing
play
we have
that
to
game.
dynamic weather is Farming Simulator 2025.
Yay.
So more about the story, Blake, because I don't know nothing what's going on.
Hold on. I have
I
a.
mean,
Well,
there's like
I'm
a
finding my
big,
screenshot.
it's kind of like a civil war type situation is going on still because you're down there trying to hold
So who are we shooting?
Washington.
Who are we shooting? So
The hyenas, weren't we
we're a
shooting
government, like
hyenas?
the division's a government agency.
So the Division 2 is set shortly after the first game's virus outbreak, which wiped out a large amount of the population. This time, however, the game is set in a somewhat sunnier Washington, D.C., and focuses on rebuilding society as opposed to just trying to take it back. This ranges from building up survival settlements and disrupting enemy factions. You are part of the division. You are a sleeper U.S. agent called upon times of great domestic turmoil. The division has access to shader technology and helping them try to reclaim the capital.
So we're fighting just gang members,
A bunch of
basically.
just different factions and stuff
Factions of
like
gang
that.
members.
I think they had different names. There was a couple of different names that were.
These Bronson hyenas, is that one of them?
You had hyenas, which were from the first one. You
And then
had them
True
come back.
Sons, Outcasts.
Then there was Rikers and Cleaners, but I think those were part of the Warlords of New York.
Oh,
They added those in because those Rikers and Cleaners were people you fought in Division 1, so they added them in for the Warlords of New York
Because you were
because
going
they're
back.
expanding
Yeah.
because they're coming down the coast.
hmm.
And then we just, murder folk.
I mean, it's just dystopian. We all know when society collapses, it's just all the jerks get
Yeah. And
together, all the decent people get together.
what sucks about it, there's a lot of there's people talking constantly. Audiobooks, audio logs, and people talking about their missions and why they want you to go do it. And they put it in there.
It's all in there. There's a lot of talking, a
The
lot of world
lore,
building, and
Lore, yeah.
recruiting people because
it's
part of your
the lore
missions
is
for
just as deep as the freaking menus can be when you want to start customizing your equipment and your weapons. Because I mean, it gets down in it. You can
Mhm.
drill as far down as you want to.
I think it's also one of those things where it was too busy. I think I always hit the wrong button. Every time I was trying to open up a menu, I was like, I want the oh, that's the map. No, I want my character. And I have to like figure out. I had to like look at my controller and be like, which button? That one, because it is a little because there's so many menus
Yeah.
to go through, and
And
besides,
in
I
the end, it
can't.
doesn't really matter. You were always looking for the highest defense rating. You're always looking for the highest damage rating. So it doesn't really
Because
actually matter.
it would do like the big number was like the main defense, and then like Brian said, there's a bunch of granule little like other different kinds of like fire or like certain types of maybe even certain types of bullets or guns, and it would go down the whole list, and then you
Explosive,
can buy
ballistic.
explosive, yeah, you can buy. I think there was set bonuses and stuff like that. I'm just like, I need that big number up top now. Let's just and the game doesn't make you do anything more. Like the game lets you be as invested as you want to be. Like we all play through just picking the big number. We beat the main
Yeah, I just looked at the green arrow,
quote unquote
green
beat
arrow,
the
red
main.
arrow. I want
Yeah.
more green than red.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Exactly.
it lets you. So I can get people playing online, like being their only game they play Division, and like just really just digging down into like making their character be the best they can possibly be. And maybe if you have fun with that, sure, have at it.
And then they introduced, like, we didn't get into it because it cost money, but they introduced different skins. And I mean, they had crossovers and stuff like what Resident Evil had some skins in there and
Hmm.
a few different things. We ignored it because that's not
Uh,
us. We're not going to be
we,
spending
we only
cash.
got the whatever the in-game reward skins and stuff like
Right.
that. Yeah. I
But
might have got some of that. What's that Ubisoft Club? I might have downloaded some stuff from there, some gun skins, because I always
Yeah.
download that whenever every time I start a Ubisoft game, I click on that and see what's going on in there.
After you've gone through the rigmarole of remembering which email you used and what your password is and getting signed in.
Yeah.
so
Also,
yeah,
I got this smiley face gun skin. It only took me 45 minutes to get it in here.
Heck yeah,
so
it's
they
only
were
worth it.
constantly rotating and upgrading because I got a list of a couple of different things here I'm going to go over about the constant support that was still happening for Division 2.
Yeah, when we decided to
Mm-hmm.
play it, they had the big one of the big overhauls had just hit. And I think I'd mentioned like, hey, they're still updating this. Should we play it? And everybody's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it says starting with the game's second year of release, they adopted a seasonal model following like everything, all these live service. Because it's billed as a live service game.
Mm-hmm.
But each season and stuff like that, they were introducing new mechanics and new this and new game types. Just mostly, I think, for like online and mission types. But they include each season was a 12-week season. Massive, the actual Massive, they shifted their attention to Avatar and Star Wars after they put out Warlords of New York, and then everyone else, this other company, Ubisoft Bucharest, they were responsible for maintaining the seasons and updates to the games.
Yeah.
So that goes. I think there's like 11 seasons. I'm seeing
It's still going.
the highest season I see is season 9.
I wonder if it's still because it didn't.
Because it says right here, because during each season, firstly, let's see here what they did.
It's got to still be active. Now, I don't know if they're actively
Yeah, so
upgrading or
supporting the
updating.
game, the latest season, Year 6, Season 1, First Rogue, was the latest season and it was released in June 24.
There
And
you
if they're
go.
set on 12-week things, it's still active, I would guess.
June 24.
Because that means this June would be the end of the season, within 25.
That's not 12 weeks. That's 12
That's
months.
12 months, Chip.
My
bad.
I say, wait a
So
minute.
June's quite a while ago. Maybe they're wrapping up while they focus on the other projects. Maybe
Maybe. Trying to shift to stuff. But
they focus to Division 3.
that's still recently.
That's maintained it for years. I mean, that's more than a lot
Yeah,
of games
released in
get.
19, still being actively worked on in 24. That's not bad.
Mhm.
I think when we came in, it says in early 22, the first major update following season 9, Hidden Alliance, which was released in May of 22, and that was put out the game. I think that's what we came in with. That was like a big
I
update.
think it had another big one after we beat it too. I think there was another large update that came in afterwards after we were done.
And like I said, they kept adding things, a couple of different things, including raids, which were 8-on-8 PvP specific daily design missions.
Chaos.
No thanks.
Where you would complete a series of objectives.
You just die immediately.
Yep.
Then there's another game mode called the Summit, which 4 players work as a team and ascend a 100-story skyscraper, combating increasingly difficult forces.
Didn't we do that?
Maybe
That
we
sounds
tried.
familiar. I think
Maybe
we
we
tried the
tried.
summit once.
Did we dabble and did we walk into it by accident, not knowing what it was?
Probably accidentally wandered in. Yeah.
Mhm.
They kind of did that, and then they didn't do another big update until season 9, where they introduced Countdown, which was a team of 4, and you stabilize a failing nuclear reactor within 15 minutes.
Oh
boy.
gosh.
No pressure.
No wonder we didn't try that one though.
Mhm.
I
And
don't
then
think we're your group for
during
that.
that same season of April 23, the developers introduced Descent mode, which
Descent was in Division 1.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there was a series of training missions with up to 4 players, because that was like a we played this one. We played
Yeah, we
Descent
did.
because it says right here that it allowed
Okay, maybe it
solo
was.
or 4 players to a series of encounters with basic weapons in which it
Oh, those
borrowed
sucked.
roguelike
Yeah.
elements. So as you went through, you got talent points.
We dabbled.
We dabbled.
We dabbled in
played a
Descent.
couple of. I think we did that after close to when we beat the game. We're like, let's
Yeah.
try some of these.
Descent. I remember
Things.
you have to pick a
Because you
a
pick
certain
left or
gun.
right, and then you like in this room you can get all these upgrades and
Yeah, I
talent
do remember
points.
that.
Yep.
I thought Descent was a part of Division 1 as well. Could be wrong.
And then it says that they did experiment with the battle royale mode, but people seem to like it. So it's weird. It's weird how this went, because they had a battle royale mode. People seemed to like it, so they focused an entire game on it, which was the Division Heartland. But then people hated the idea because it became a battle royale, was free to play, had all this other stuff. But they ended up canceling that less than a year after its announcement.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're now, like I said, they're working on Division 3. But like, it's weird that people are like, yeah, we like that. But then Ubisoft's,
Where'd they?
I guess because they listened to fans, people were saying that they were like.
But then how'd they know that they weren't liking it before
Yeah,
they
because
came
how
out?
wide was the test for Homefront or
I think people
Homefront,
were just
whatever?
dogging on the free to play Heartland thing because it was going to
Heartland.
turn into. They're trying to. I don't know.
If any game, now I wouldn't. We might have dabbled in it. If it was Battle Royale, we wouldn't have played it. But like, if anything could pivot to like a free to play environment, like I said, when you walk around the hubs of Division 2, like that's not too far fetched for that franchise to pivot
not at
into
all.
it's not even that. They didn't got to change that much code to pivot into like a free to play environment. Like, and put all the game's already full of cosmetics.
I don't know all the details. It just says Ubisoft experimented with Battle Royale mode that was later reworked into the Division Heartland, which was then canceled a year later in 24.
It's weird. Such a strange.
Mhm. But then, like Brian said, they did release a bunch of cosmetic items, including Resident Evil and some stuff from Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, where you could walk around as,
Sam Fisher.
Sam Fisher.
Sam Fisher.
How dare you say what's his name? You put some respect on Sam Fisher's name.
And Blake don't play. I never
I
played.
didn't know his
I've
name.
actually never. I like stealth games. I've never even played a Splinter Cell. Weird, huh?
So it's crazy that they were still working on it and stuff like that.
We'll play Division 3 whenever it comes out. 2
Am
years
I
after it comes out.
possibly going to reinstall Division 2 after talking about
After
it?
this conversation, maybe.
Probably so.
You know,
Should we
you
play-
did play a whole bunch too. Like I don't want to talk about people's personal life and stuff too much, but like, even when you weren't playing with us, you were playing with your daughter Ella, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
On
she
and off,
loved
yeah.
it. I just had to go in there and turn off the profanity that's in the game. But,
There's a
no,
lot.
yeah, she's definitely my kid. She's all about shooting folks. So yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah. Maybe we'll reinstall it. Maybe we need like a. 'Cause I think we all got the Gangs of New York thing, right? Or the Wars of New York.
Warlords of New York, yeah.
Maybe we'll install it between Dark Souls runs and try out.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
you could always, you're just right outside of the White House. You meet that dude on the helicopter and he's like, "Hey, you want to go to New York?" Every time we walked outside. So
Well, the cool thing about that though is I'm looking in here at the actual expansion of in March 2020 they released Warlords of New York. It was the first paid expansion pack which raised the level cap, and also it gave you the map of a hurricane. It's different. It's not just New York. It's a specific part of New York, and it's a hurricane ravaged Lower Manhattan that's divided into four
Hurricanes
sections.
don't hit Manhattan, do they?
they do in the post-apocalyptic times.
Very, I mean, because
Yeah.
most hurricanes come down, but this one, I mean, sometimes they do go up, very rarely, but they do. But this is a hurricane ravaged Lower Manhattan divided into four sections and included a complete overhaul to the gear system, which is a complete overhaul to the gear system.
That's interesting.
Included new gadgets. And in the actual DLC, it had more varied boss fights, as well as global events and gameplay modifiers. And it says that the gameplay mechanics of the expansion were included for all players, even if they didn't purchase the DLC. They just couldn't access the New York map. So people got access to the level increase, to the gear, everything besides the actual map itself.
Yeah, so I think we were on the new gear.
I think that's what we hit.
we were on
Yeah.
the new gear
Yeah.
system.
Mhm.
So we don't know what it was
It's-
like before, but
Yeah.
It's time.
But that's crazy.
It's time now to bring in what happened, I think.
we'll talk about this. So we quote unquote beat it, the story.
We did beat it. And we didn't quote unquote. We beat the
No,
story.
we beat it.
the
Yeah, we
main
beat
story.
the story.
And then the game delivers what I called at the time the biggest, I will say it, the biggest bitch slap I've ever gotten gaming.
It was bad.
So how do you want to approach this? So you do spend however many hours, our total play time, because we quit right after this happened.
I
Yes,
played
we
40.
did.
We played 42 hours.
Mine says 38, but close enough. So about 40 odd hours, we'll say 40 odd hours of working our way across Washington,
And
clearing it.
freeing
And we
all of
we
DC.
did all of it. We cleared the entire map of all the baddies.
We hit all the main story missions. We didn't do all the side quests, I don't think, but we hit every.
We found one, we did them.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but like, so
Yeah.
the whole point is clearing what we wanted. We talk about the good feeling of clearing the map and helping all the people and doing all the stuff.
Liberating all the areas.
Everything. We did it all. We were like, we were doing it all. So who wants to explain what happens right when you finish the main story campaign?
Oh, you take it away, Brian.
You get a giant screw you from the entire game, and you're reinvaded by a group of technologically advanced, what are they, mercenaries, I guess, named
We
the
don't know
Black
because we
Tusk.
didn't play.
Yeah, named the Black. I think they're a private military company
Is
named
this-
the Black Tusk, and they come in and they are higher level than you. They're better equipped than you. They have every
They wipe.
advantage.
They wipe your map.
Yep.
And you restart.
They
Yeah.
wipe it and take back over everything that you've claimed and just reinforce who was there before. And then it's a total restart.
Yeah. Most people might see that as hooray, I've got more content. I see it as I've just wasted 40 hours.
Yeah. And it was a direct response to people who were complaining about not having enough in game. And the Black Tusk was a direct response to people saying, hey, we need something to do in game. We beat this. We still want to keep it going because it's basically a live service without being a live service. And
Mhm.
that was their solution. They're like, okay, here, now grind against these guys for a while. And
Yeah.
they missed us in the target market on that one.
Yeah, we straight like didn't touch a single. It was crazy about those guys. I don't think they're even mentioned. Like you beat the game and like
Yeah,
the credits,
it's
the
really
credit,
not
the
mentioned.
credits roll, and then it like doesn't like cut to like these guys just flying in and just like ruining everything.
Yeah.
Basically, and we're all watching like what is happening? What is going on? I wouldn't have mind if it dropped a couple of new guys across the map. You know, a couple
Yeah,
of new
like
guys to go, but like to
Some
wipe
warlords
our whole
there or something.
yeah, but to wipe the map clean of what we done.
And then not
Holy
only to
crap.
wipe it clean, but when our first interaction with these Black Tusk guys, I mean, we're running in-game weapons, in-game gear, and it doesn't matter. They wiped
They
the
don't
floor
care.
with us. I mean, it was pathetic.
And we were like, oh, we're done with this. I
Yeah, we're
think
like, oh
that
nah.
burned us enough that that's why we didn't go do World Wars in New York.
Yeah, we're like,
Yeah.
Because we had planned
we're
on
done.
going and we might try to go back now between or Dark Souls, and another Dark Souls game. But yeah, it was wild, man. I've never had a game. And I played a lot of open world games. I think me and Brian maybe, but I don't think Blake dabbles. Blake hates open world stuff, but I play a lot of open world games. I've never had one just like wipe off my entire history of playing it like that, and just for the sake of more to do. I guess I couldn't.
I mean, even if they had let them invade a certain portion of the map and
Yeah,
then you had a new front line established or something, it would be
Then you have
different.
like a
But
little
no.
like a little a progress bar. There's like, ooh, there's more like what do you call it? A morale bar.
Yeah, like you're trying to
something.
fight back or whatever.
And that was like the live service. It was constantly fluctuating.
Because there
You
was a
know,
morale bar. It just wasn't in the game. It was our morale bar and it immediately tanked.
I remember Ralph destroyed so fast in a game in my life.
yeah. Because
Bad.
I'll read this real quick. It says
Is it
the
well? I wonder if you have anything about if that is that just us or if that shit's
Oh,
well
I
received.
didn't really look into how
'Cause I
other
wonder if
people
that was
felt.
well received or how people thought about it.
It just says right here that the end game of Division 2 was designed to be more robust and to further enhance the replayability. The Black Tusk's invasion offered a different set of challenges than in the main game. Their AI was specifically designed to be more aggressive and coordinate with the other factions and corral them to attack players more cohesively.
God,
So not only did you have them, but all the people you beat before then joined them, and they were like, "Hey, hyenas do this, y'all do this," and it was a more coordinated AI,
or so they say.
supposedly. Yeah,
And from what I've looked up, the end game apparently was also received positive reviews. It was praised for its replayability, and notably, they liked that it reused locations from the campaign, but with a harder enemy faction that is fierce and provides ample opportunity to explore those sections again.
yeah,
So that means another 40 plus hours
or
of
more if they were
or more if
harder.
they're harder.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
and also introduced another thing called emergent events, which means like you could, from what I could tell, you could be doing a combat thing. And you've experienced this in Odyssey. You could be doing a combat thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then another faction of Black Tusk could come in from a side, completely unrelated to what you were doing. They were just what's what I'm looking
Nearby,
for?
adjacent.
Yeah, you
No,
just
what's
get
this
pulled in.
term? They're scouting or whatever, and they see you and they come in completely unexpected, or they bring it. Order another faction to come. I was like, man, that would be awful
Like Brian said, we are not the demographic or the audience for this
for that
content.
particular content. No.
Not for that. No, that was a slap in the face.
Mm-hmm. I was real like I think we were that night when we beat it, we were just stunned that it happened. I wish we had the recording for that because
Yeah, that would have been good.
we didn't have our Division 2. We weren't streaming. We were co-oping but weren't streaming. Yeah, I think all three of us were jointly stunned. Not one of us was like, "Oh, sweet."
No, no, no.
All three was like, "What is happening?
I
Why
think we
is this?"
thought it was interesting until they slapped us around for like 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, we're done. This is terrible.
Hmm.
Yeah, to exactly what Brian says. I'm looking at some of those same reviews. In-game was also received positive reviews, replayability, reusing locations from campaign. The Black Tusk as an enemy faction is fierce, provides ample opportunities to explore and customize more specific builds, promoting players to work more cooperatively.
That's so weird because
Black
like
Tusk is a very aggressive faction.
I feel like these days when you put something on the same map again, people are just mad.
Yeah.
Except for
Nobody,
division players,
nobody's
apparently.
excited to like re-explore the same map again.
No, how
No,
many
no,
times do people get criticized for reusing assets? Just any
yeah,
asset.
even what's it called? People even criticize. I mean, they still make gangbusters, but Tears of the Kingdom is the same
Yeah.
map. And everybody's like, oh well. It's just like it had some criticism, but I was just like, I don't know. What's that? This is it's Ubisoft. What's that Far Cry thing where Far Cry Primal is like the flipped map of
They just
three?
turn the map 90
Yeah.
degrees.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, I'm. Like I said, maybe what Brian says, it's the hardcore division players are just happy to. But I feel like any other time you use the same map, you're getting burned online.
Oh, 100%.
So strange.
Is yeah, right here is people there because it's divided good and bad. There's a whole bunch of good, and then right here is like a little bad thing. It says the game's narrative was criticized, noting lack of strong story, and filled with forgettable characters and faceless enemies.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
that's
story is
100% true.
water
Yeah.
thin,
Yeah.
wafer thin. My bad.
Wafer, a water wafer.
Yeah. The game
That's
is
real thin.
thematically uninspired despite its evocative setting.
Evocative.
Evocative, yeah.
Evocative.
Evocative.
It's supposed to bring out emotion, bring out
Yeah.
reactions. Evocative.
See, the game's environmental storytelling is amazing, but the actual storytelling is very disappointing.
But anybody that was playing this game for the story, I mean, that's not
Failed to
what.
explore the pandemic and the fall of U.S. in any meaningful way, and just fell back on awful. What is it?
This isn't The Last of Us, for goodness
Yeah.
sake. I mean,
They're just like, yeah, it's just the world fell apart. No reason we need to explore any of that. But yeah, people did. I see a lot of people praise, criticizing it's that. The game symbolizes a regression in the Tom Clancy brand, the franchise that once dealt with complex geopolitical entanglements before turning into a modern day fetishization of guns and violence in paramilitary engagements.
Somebody's upset.
Yeah.
that sounds like a non-video game player reporting on a video
Yeah.
game
Yeah.
right there.
This is generic because the game has guns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I click on it. It's some dude named Aaron Rico from Slant Magazine, and Slant
Yeah.
Magazine is a publication that focuses on TV, movies, and DVDs and theaters. I mean, it says and video games, but it's like the last thing they note. Also based in New York, so they may have been mad that it wasn't back in New York.
Who knows?
But yeah,
Anybody got anything else to share about it? Because I mean, we had a good time. Like we normally do have a good time. And I'll say on the list of games that we actually complete is pretty short. So this is actually a game we played through the whole campaign, saw credits and stuff. So we went all the way
yeah.
through it.
yeah.
More than we can say for lots of other games on our list here.
I don't know if it was as successful as the first one, like financially.
It had to be at that point that
let's
it
see.
maintained for years.
On the week of its release, it was the UK's best-selling game, but its sales figures were 20% of the original game's launch week sales.
Yeah.
20%, not 20% down, but 20% of the total.
Of
Wow.
the total. Yeah.
Oof, it's a big crazy. They maintained that game. That
It says it was, this is kind of cool, I guess, because one of the first times where like a Western game penetrating like Eastern markets and stuff like that. It's one of those things. It says right here in Japan, it sold about 64,000 units on the PS4, which was the best-selling game of any format for Tom Clancy in Japan.
because they don't care about this stuff.
And
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
the US, it was the best-selling video game of March 2019 and the 9th best-selling game of the year. So I mean, yeah, it was success.
Ninth
for
of the
sure.
year. That is
9th of the year.
success.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It says it sold more than 10 million copies during its
that's huge. So how big was Division 1? That's a
a
division.
lot
That's a
bigger
pretty
than
big.
that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That 10 million copies, if anything, is a good success for a large franchise.
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
I was just unaware of how successful it was.
The first
I
one
guess.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right here, this is Ubisoft. Where'd it go? Ubisoft cited that the increase in competition in the genre has caused the game's disappointing performance.
There's a lot of shooters out there, a lot of online shooters. Yeah,
But
But it
also,
does
you
say
can never
that
listen
the,
to Ubisoft on success or failure of a game because their level for success
none
is
of 'em.
ridiculous.
none of the big publishers you can listen to it,
No.
Yeah, true.
except for Capcom. Capcom's the only company that seems proud of what they're doing.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, and takes care
Nobody
of their
else-
employees. and everything else.
Nobody else is happy but Capcom. Everybody else is
I
like,
do have an interesting little tidbit of information right here.
mhm.
Tidbit.
Was there's a big lawsuit between Epic Games and Apple. Do you guys remember that?
for the paid
Mhm.
service.
Yep,
on their
yep.
work,
So
yeah.
during the testimony in the antitrust lawsuit, Epic Games v. Apple, it was revealed that this is a crazy thing, that May 9th through May 11th of 2019, 70 to 90% of the online transactions of this game's downloads and everything were fraudulent, with scammers having stolen credit cards to buy Ubisoft games in the Epic store, which prompted a very profuse apology letter from the Epic CEO Tim Sweeney and the Ubisoft CEO Vis Guillemot, and they
Yves
they
Guillemot.
said that what Guillemot?
Yves Guillemot. Yeah.
Yeah, Yves Guillemot.
Ubisoft CEO.
The fraud rates for other games during this time. So 70 to 90% of the transactions during that 3-day period were like 70 to 90. Every other game in that store which were like mostly Fortnite and other Epic games. Epic Games was 2%, Fortnite was 1%. So 70% fraud was an extraordinary situation.
I
I,
wonder how that happened.
I guess
Yeah, how why were they hacked so badly?
it's like one of the, I guess because people were obviously watching Fortnite and other Epic games are like, and this being a big, massive, live service, people were just like, no one's watching the Division. It's kind of just sneak in there. And during that 3 day period, that's a massive uptick in fraudulent scams and stuff like that. And they had to refund all that money.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
that is weird. How's that? What are they? So were they using people's cards to buy crap and then sell
It
it to
just
other
says where
people?
fraudulent scammers had stolen credit card numbers to buy Ubisoft games in the Epic Games store. So something
They're
happened
buying games for themselves.
for
Okay.
With
themselves or their
stolen
friends
credit
are buying.
cards.
Stolen credit cards. And where'd they get the stolen credit cards from?
Whatever they hacked
It
into
wasn't
Epic
a,
Games.
so it was an Epic Games leak, not a Ubisoft leak.
I don't know. It just says to
That's
buy
strange.
Ubisoft games in the Epic Games store. So I'm not entirely
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
That's strange.
Epic CEO is the one that apologized for it, so
Oh,
you would
okay, he
think that it was a
apologized.
weakness
Okay,
on
so
their
it's an
part.
Epic
Yeah.
leak. Okay.
Yeah, Epic apologized to Ubisoft.
Oh, okay. So it's not their fault. It's
Yeah.
not Division Two or Massive's fault.
Now, it just shows
Massive,
how popular they were. People were willing to steal credit card numbers just to buy the game.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty big of Epic to Ubisoft.
I think all this really not this fraudulent stuff, but I think the game sales stuff really leads to like the next division game could kill or save the franchise. I bet
Yeah.
they're kind of I bet there's a lot of pressure on the next division.
Probably with that Heartland
Which is-
having been they
And
canceled
Heartland,
it so quick.
That's
imagine
probably one of the reasons
morale-
they did cancel Heartland, just
Yeah,
because
and
they were
well,
like, "Oh, this ain't working. We gotta pivot."
Yeah, because I mean, Division Two is successful, but like not on terms of Division One. This could be the death of a franchise, just about.
I did have one other thing I wanted to talk about. We talked about in the story being lackluster and this, that, and the other. The game had 18 writers,
Jesus Christ.
and you're just kind of like filled with. I couldn't tell you a single person's name. There
Oh
was
gosh, no.
Captain so and so, and they told me to go do things. There was a lady.
The guy
there
that
was a
ran the
dude.
store that I bought guns from, I don't remember his name, but I know that was the same, like the quartermaster or whatever.
18 writers, man.
18 writers, and we remember
What?
nothing.
It took 18 people just to come up with that many generic faces to put in there.
That's crazy.
We got Tom Everyman and Judy
Everyone.
Lady, but spelled Ladi
I guess they come back around to it, like nobody's playing Division for the plot.
for the story.
There's just
no.
not gonna be nobody.
They could have just been like, guys,
they got
if they just opened up and be like, guys, we know why you're here. Let's go kill some people. And you're like,
Yeah, right.
I think that'd be cool with that story. You don't care about any of this.
you like guns, right?
So I think it's to that point. Do you have anyone want to?
I don't think I didn't do it. I keep forgetting to do these. Like
I did one.
Brian got one. Okay, good.
Brian got one. Well, you do yours after me. So start
God.
thinking.
I got nothing.
Go, Brian. You
All
can
right.
say any closing thoughts and then wrap it up.
Closing thoughts. I loved it. I had a great time. My score is reflective of the turn that it takes at the end. I guess like it did overshadow a little bit, but even still, I feel like it gave me what I was looking for. And like I said, I played probably an additional 40 hours of this game without you guys, with other friends on Discord before.
Yeah, I think you
I
played
ever
it.
even
You played it
through with
before
y'all.
we asked you to play.
He
didn't you?
definitely played it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had played through. I almost all the way through the story once before, and then I just restarted a fresh role, a fresh character with
If
y'all.
you had played
so-
all the way through the story, you could have pre-warned us. So it took you for a shot. Too,
Well, I
so you definitely
never-
didn't beat the game.
No. That's why I said almost. I never made it to that Black Tusk work.
Yeah,
role at
he
the
might have
end.
warned us. He's like, yeah, I'll play Division. I'll play with you guys, but
At
let
this
me
point,
tell
we're
you-
going to want to quit. But that being said, really enjoyed it. Definitely looking forward to the third one whenever it comes out. I'd definitely be on board with it, and wouldn't mind going back and looking at Warlords of New York. So I'm going to give it 7.5 versions of the same gun out of 10.
Yeah, respectable. Because I mean, we enjoyed it. I couldn't tell you anything about the story, but I enjoyed everything. I think some of the gunfights went on a little long because you're like, well, Jesus Christ, where are these people coming from? But that's all games and stuff like that. People praised the AI. I mean, I think most of them. I mean, I don't ever remember getting super bum rushed until we got to the Black Tusk people. We handled most of our situations. I think we died a couple of times, but then we
With
went in
some
with a better
bosses.
plan. Yeah, but I said my favorite thing earlier. So my My rating will reflect it. I'm going to give it 7 machine gun drones out of 10. Those machine gun drones were epic.
Yeah.
Just
They're
hunt down.
game breaking basically.
They're game
Yeah.
breaking.
Yeah.
Game breaking machine gun drones.
So I'll say like I didn't have anything ready. I did have a good time, but I think I just have a good time just playing games with you guys. So it don't really matter what kind of stuff we're playing, except when we're playing something like The Hunt, then y'all can't save The Hunt.
It was the best
which,
ever. I know.
Which has recently got majorly patched and revamped. So I was like, maybe.
Get that $13 worth.
So I was thinking maybe if I sit, maybe it's, I hate nostalgia, but like if I put like Division 1, like me and Blake, like I really enjoyed Division 1. It could be because it was the first time playing a game like that. If Division 1 is like an 8, maybe like a high 7 or an 8 for me, that puts me a little lower on this one to maybe a between a 6 and a 7 probably for Division 2. I think there's like improvement, but that's just these numbers don't mean anything. It's just thoughts. But I prefer I said it throughout the whole podcast. I'd kind of prefer the first game over the second game. But I still, when we won't play Division 3 the day it comes out.
No,
But
we'll wait 2 years.
like 2 years
right.
after patches,
Till it's on sale.
Yeah, we'll definitely, you'll see us playing Division 3 for sure. We would have played Heartlands, honestly.
Maybe.
Would have tried it for sure.
Yeah, tried it.
Yeah, we would have tried it at least, unless it was straight up battle royale.
It was a free to play battle royale.
Okay, never mind. We wouldn't have tried that.
I would have.
You would have definitely
no doubt
tried
about
it.
it.
Yeah,
I
you
still
would have
play
tried.
Fortnite with Ella on occasion. So,
Oh God, we're going to embarrass ourselves in Fortnite.
Remember, you got to do your angles.
Whatever that means.
Build that tower.
Corners.
I don't even know what the artist's saying. Another language to me.
All right. Do we? What's our next game?
Yeah, sure. So I think we've said it a couple of times that Blake's been working on getting a playthrough of a game ready. Have we mentioned? I don't. You
I think you've mentioned
that Blake's been working on it. Okay, so yeah, so Blake has finally got the majority of his episodes edited and ready to go out for RoboCop Rogue City. So we're going to go ahead and next episode we're going to talk about our play, because I played it too. Me and Blake both played it. I don't know. Did you play any RoboCop, Brian?
I have not touched it. No,
Okay,
I watched Blake play it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you won't be on the episode anyway. I was just wondering if you had played it yet. It would have normally had an episode anyway because we played it on GameFly, I think. But it's just a random thing when we just because Blake likes RoboCop more than me. He likes the movies and stuff too, and he might talk about the movies while he's playing the game. But this is the game that we had that wasn't that long, and Blake wanted to kind of like break into like making more than just our Twitch streams on our YouTube channel. So this is like a playthrough of Blake just playing RoboCop and talking about RoboCop stuff. I didn't watch it because I'm not going to watch him play a game that I've already played. So that's not for us. It's for people who listen to the podcast that want to see us like play a game outside of just our Twitch stream, stuff like that. So there's a full RoboCop playthrough of Blake that we're going to when we record the next episode, we will say it on the episode too. There, when we record the next episode, we're going to go ahead and Blake's going to start launching the YouTube edits, episodes of his RoboCop stream. Which comes up to like 9 episodes, I think.
It's 9 episodes total, and I am more than halfway through the penultimate episode.
There you go. So, been a long time. I told Blake, what's it like? Because I know a lot of people do this stuff too. Anybody who plays video games and makes content for it. Like, I was like, how is it like editing and putting out a game that you normally you would have played and wrote off like for the podcast, had an episode and forgot. Now you're editing videos of a game you played like 6 months ago. And you're just like, it's just weird because he hasn't done too much video editing. It's just like, it's got to be weird. Like, because like we beat a game. A lot of these like games like RoboCop, like we would have an episode. We would have had this episode months ago. Probably.
Well, not really. There's stuff before and after we had.
Yeah, but we would have done it months ago, and then we would have never talked about RoboCop again. But
yeah, that one wouldn't be sticking around for the long haul.
Sticking around and it's not a bad. When we're talking about the podcast, it's not a bad game. We'll save it for the podcast. And I mean, annoyingly, very recently this week announced story expansion for it.
Of all things, there's
I forgot what it's called.
It's like the story expansion is you play as Alex Murphy before he's RoboCop, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, right.
And there's both. Like if you watch the trailer, there's like him, Alex Murphy stuff, which is just him doing cop stuff, running through shooting folks, and then there's more RoboCop stuff. So it's fine. I'm not going to play the DLC. I don't care enough about it, but we'll bring that up. Blake might. I don't know if you'll do a bonus episode of you playing the DLC or not. We'll see. We'll get there. But that's all I got. We're going to thank Jared Jones and the guys at Emerge for letting go for our intro song here. You're going to see it too. If you've been watching, I forgot to mention, we mentioned watching our Twitch streams. Our cousin Daniel has edited together an intro for us. That's Blake paired him with the YouTube videos, but Brian is able with his fancy computer to drop it into our Twitch streams now. This really awesome intro video for the podcast and for the Twitch streams with plays letting go, and then Daniel has edited us like the coolest part.
Really awesome
This
video.
awesome video that's cooler than any podcast or YouTube video we do. So that's there. And we mentioned before, if anybody's in the area in Chattanooga, Emerge has a concert on March 28th. It's a Friday, so we're going to it. Me and Blake and my wife are going. They're opening for a band called Nothing More, which is a pretty big deal. We said Nothing More when we had Jared on. They were doing lots of big shows. It's really exciting. So if you can make it down to Chattanooga on March 28th, support Emerge, play with Nothing More. It's going to be a hell of a night. We'll be there. So support those guys. I want to thank Devious.Pixel for the art for the podcast. We'll have a new art coming up for our guest episode, which we haven't announced our guest yet. We're having a returning guest, but we'll save that for when it's a little closer. We're going to get some art thrown together for that. So we'll be reaching out to Devious again soon here for that. And thank in person, over a Zoom call. We always thank Brian for sticking around and playing games with us is one thing. I think editing a podcast is another thing to ask, but he does it without complaint. So we
You don't have to thank
appreciate
me
that.
for playing games. That part's
I know.
fun.
So playing games is fun. And
Sometimes.
you ain't got to say editing a podcast is fun because I know it's not. It's funny sometimes when you listen to it. Like, yeah, that was kind of funny, but these guys are stupid. And I know this will be your favorite because there's nothing more fun than editing yourself.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. It'll be great.
We're gonna listen to him edit himself out completely.
Yeah, there's just gaps for
You didn't talk at all. That was weird.
I remember you talking with my headset messed up.
Yeah, we left that out of this podcast where Blake spent the first 20 minutes of this with headphone problems, which Brian said we should have left in, but we
That would have been gold.
People love audio issues in their episodes. Patreon exclusive. Blake fights a headset.
Because I'm smart.
All right. That's all I got. We'll be back with more with RoboCop. And we'll say come to the twitch.tv/TwoSmoking Controllers. Come watch us. We're doing Dark Souls, but as people who listen to the podcast, we're playing Dark Souls backwards. We're now finally in Dark Souls 1, but it's all entirely because this is like they're all good games, I guess, but this is the one like we consider to be like the masterpiece. People say the whole franchise is full of just masterpieces. I feel like that Dark Souls 1 really captured the essence of what started it all. Even though Demon Souls come first, like Dark Souls was the breakout, and then like that's like a true masterpiece. So we kind of wanted to we're catching a lot of it. It has a little bit to do with Brian's fancy computer and stuff he can do with it. But we're catching all of normally we rotate who's streaming, but like we're catching it everything from Brian's perspective and his first first genuine playthrough of Dark Souls 1, which is a mixed bag of good times and missing quality of life features that are in later Dark Souls games.
Yeah, it turns out some of those are pretty huge.
Yeah, big things like fast travel were more important than we realized. Now, granted, we keep promising Brian that fast travel is in Dark Souls 1. You just have to earn the right to have it.
Which makes sense. That
Way later in the game. And you can like fast travel to like 4 bonfires, I think. So don't get your hopes up too high.
It's not going to be that big of a game changer, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Blake?
I guess just a little bit of self-promotion.
I forget this every time.
On my part. We do have a brother podcast called Suspension of Disbelief that did spawn off of this one.
That's movies. Brian refuses to listen to.
There's so many podcasts, guys. There's just so many podcasts.
Don't support us. Don't bother. No, it's okay. Our feelings hurt. You don't listen to Blake and Steve talk about a movie for 3.5 hours.
Hey, we talk about some good movies, and sometimes we talk about some bad movies, but most of the time, good movies.
Hey, I'm a Patreon supporter. You can't badmouth me.
But that's called Suspension of Disbelief. With me and our good buddy Steve, we try to semi-surprise one another with a movie. We don't discuss it until we record so that our opinions don't influence the others. Mm-hmm. I do have a short story that I self-published on Amazon called They Come This Night. Please check that out, rate that. I'm actually really proud of that.
What's he say was the 3-year anniversary?
Something like that. I had a 3-year anniversary of that fairly recently. Mm-hmm. That, like I said, that's free if you have Kindle Unlimited. It's just $1 otherwise. I don't think I have anything else.
Yeah, Ryan, you got anything? You don't have a go-to for anything like this, but
I don't have a tagline.
This was your boy Brian.
This was Brian.
That's it. All right, well, that's it, guys. Come join the Twitch streams. That's where we want people to be.
And I want to wish everybody a good evening and good night.